What's going on, everybody? This is Screenwriter Randall Rydell Russell, bringing you another episode of The Process, where I break down tips, tools, and just inspirations for me getting into screenwriting and my love for film and everything in between. As always, this is the month of October, so we'll be talking about pretty much everything horror this month, so let's get into it. Today, we're going to be going over my favorite foreign horror movies. Now, I'll be honest, I own about 2, but they're buried right now. But I've seen all of them on streaming, cable, whatever. That's where I got a lot of my horror growing up, especially the foreign ones. So we're going to get into my list of favorite horror movies that are from foreign countries right now. Okay, number 1 is the movie Audition. Audition was directed by Takashi Miike and written by Daisuke Tengen. When I first saw that, it was 1999. I was 13. And I just remember that movie freaking me out. Like, the whole him in the bag, she puking in a bowl to feed him, and just the acupuncture scenes. It just was so dark, and just like, you don't see that type of stuff in American films. I know a lot of American films try to copy that, but you just couldn't. Audition is terrifying. If you haven't seen it, find it, watch it. I think it's streaming like, or pretty much like Prime or something like that, but go find that movie. Number 2 is the movie called Martyrs. My older brother showed me that in like 2015, 2016. It's directed by Pascal Laguerre, and it's also written by him as well. That movie is so disturbing. It's so twisted. It's so out there and weird. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And the end is just like, makes your jaw drop. I'm not even kidding you. Audition is such a good film. You have to go watch it. Like, you have to go watch that film. Number 3 is another one my brother showed me growing up. Well, not growing up, but when we were like in our 20s. High Tension. That's directed by Alexandre Aja and written by Gregory Levasseur and Alexandre Aja. High Tension is so twisted, and the twist throughout the film, when you figure out what's really going on, you just kind of like, that's what it makes you do. That's what that movie makes you do. It's definitely one I tell people, like, when you watch that movie, if you're not into gore or just like realistic violence or just over the top violence, don't watch this movie. So yeah, High Tension. My next one it's from London. It's called Eden Lake. It has Kelly Riley, who plays Beth on Yellowstone, Michael Fassbender, one of his earlier roles, and a young British actor named Jack O'Connell, who I've liked in everything he's done. It was directed by and written by James Watkins. It's just this really twisted, almost like kids, teenagers who are just like, they're so far gone. It's like they'll kill somebody. It kind of reminds me of Bully with the Larry Clark movie, but just more violent and just more twisted. And it's the end of that movie is just thinking about the end, it's just like, wow. Eden Lake is twisted. It is, I know it's on Freevee, it's on Prime, it's everywhere. If you haven't seen it, please go watch Eden Lake. Next is the little Japanese film called House that came out in the 70s. That movie's weird. That movie's hella weird. Like, that movie's weird. That movie's really weird. But it's so horrific, but beautiful to look at, and so out there. It's almost like watching a horror cartoon in some instances, even though it's like a live-action Japanese film. It's just something that I feel like if you want to get your mind warped, watch that movie. It was directed by Nobunaga Obashi and written by Shinho Katsura. Forgive me if I'm saying the names wrong or saying them weird. I'm just trying to get it right to give them respect. But House is available on Max. If you haven't watched House, pop it in. Have a couple beers and watch it. Yeah, let me know what you think. Next, Wreck. It's directed by Yasume Bellagore and Paco Plaza. They both wrote it too. It is about this apartment building that gets quarantined because of a zombie outbreak, and people get stuck in there. And it's a found footage film, and it's such a good found footage film because it really captures the fear It's really good with the camera to kind of do that creep up on you scares that a lot of movies do. It's very good. It was remade as Quarantine, the American version that had Dead from Dexter in it. Not as good, but still entertaining. But Wreck, the first one, fantastic. Next is The Devil's Backbone. I love The Devil's Backbone. It was directed by Guillermo del Toro and written by him, David Munoz, and Antonio Tresores. It's just a beautiful, like, Guillermo del Toro makes stuff that's scary look beautiful, or stuff that's creepy look beautiful. And that's exactly what this movie does. It's a beautiful but horrific, visually stunning film that still holds up, 23 years later. It just is something I feel like everybody needs to watch and just really enjoy. And it's just a great Spanish horror film. Let the Right One In. I've already talked about that before. It's one of my favorite vampire movies, but it's also one of my favorite foreign horror movies. Another one, just very dark, just very visually just beautiful. The blood, the black and white of the nighttime when they're outside in the snow, when she feeds, the color with that, everything about that movie and the story, it's so beautiful. But then it has all these turns when it becomes terrifying, and that's why I think it's such a good horror movie. Please find Let the Right One In and watch that movie. Number 9, I don't know if you can consider it a horror movie. I consider it a horror movie. It's more of a revenge thriller, but it plays off like a horror movie in so many scenes that I couldn't leave it off my foreign list. I Saw the Devil. That was directed by Kim Ji Kwan and written by Park Hyun Jung. I Saw the Devil has Byung Young. Sorry if I'm messing their names up, but he was Storm Shadow in the live-action G.I. Joe movie. His wife is murdered by this serial killer, and he pretty much stops being a Secret Service agent in Korea to go stalk the serial killer so he can kill him, but he becomes like the killer himself, and the things he does, the things the killer does, and the end is so satisfying. It's such a satisfying ending, but man, this movie just keeps you going. It's one of those ones, it's beautifully, it's just like great action, great horror, great camera work, great acting. It's everything you would want in a foreign revenge thriller that is secretly a horror movie. So yes, I Saw the Devil. And last on my list, I'm late to the game. I saw it like 2 or 3 years ago for the first time, but I fell in love with it. Train to Busan. It's directed by Leon Sang, and it was written by him too, and it was also written by Park Ju-suk. Train to Busan is easily one of the best zombie movies ever made. The premise, the script, the acting, the direction, the threat, all of it is so good. There's some genuine scenes in that movie that are like creepy. You're just like, oh shit. There's a scene where they have to walk down the train and it's dark, but the zombies are in there too. I'm not gonna say anything else. Just know that scene is terrifying. Okay, and that concludes this episode of The Process. We're gonna keep bringing you more stuff. I'm posting my best to worst horror movie stuff throughout my IG as well, so definitely take a look at that. But I'm gonna keep coming with content. I thank you guys for coming through and doing all this and watching it and keeping up with me. Please spread it, share it, whatever, and we'll see you next time.